Yo, guys, welcome to the Blue Podcast with me, Tom, and Ben is late, I think, for the second week in a row, but that doesn't matter. Today, we've got Dan from Racing Reviews. How you doing, mate?
Hello, Tom. How are you, buddy?
Very good.
Yeah, I'm really good as well. I can't believe Ben's late. That's disgusting behaviour. But I'll let him off because it's so hot today. It's baking. So I like to picture in my head he's just passed out somewhere in the street, just completely sweating buckets. But if he doesn't make it, no worries, because I'm very excited to talk to you, mate. So thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure. Obviously, I think we've spoken a bit before and tried to sort this out, but it's lovely to finally have got this sorted, and I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to learning, as I always do, with these F1 and I guess Fighter Pilot podcasts we've done. I try my best, and I'm gonna try my best with you, Dan.
Good man. Good. I'll try and be as friendly as possible, but I can't promise anything.
Yeah, that feels with confidence. But before we get into it, everyone that's new around here, please do subscribe to the channel. The goal is 900 subs before the end of August, which would be amazing. And also, if you enjoyed the video, and Dan's links will be in the description, so do check him out. He's got a fantastic F1 channle over there. I have to say, Dan, I do have to say, it's very good. I've watched a few videos, and I'm learning. I'm learning F1.
Good man. That's all we can ask for is learning. And yeah, everyone, don't forget to subscribe. This man is awesome.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much. Well, actually, the person that kind of kick-started this whole non-football, so to say, podcast we do was Moto Meerkat. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Oh, old Jono.
Yes.
I didn't think he'd be coming up today. Unbelievable.
Well, he's my schoolmate.
Is it? You need to re-pick your friends. That's a terrible choice. I met him this weekend, actually, funnily enough. Lovely boy.
Really?
Mm. Yeah. I met him at I don't want to spoil it for later on, but I met him at Silverstone. So yeah, and he was walking around with a bucket hat with a frog on it.
Of course.
So that tells you everything you need to know about him for those that don't know him.
That sums up John literally to a T. But yeah, no. So he was our first F1 guest and first non-football guest. I think we're trying to sort out getting him back on again soon. But obviously, I wanted to get Dan on first. Really, get a proper F1 YouTuber on.
Oh, I'll let him know that one.
You can't be saying that. No, I can't be saying that. That's outrageous.
We'll keep that here.
We will keep that here. I mean, if he watches it, then he might hear that, and I'll probably get an angry DM, but hopefully not. I'm joking, John. I love you. You literally just mentioned it. Silverstone. Can't say I watched it. I'm really bad.
Oh no!
I know what happened.
Okay, that's good.
And I've seen the clip of the very important clip.
Mm.
Did you enjoy the whole race?
It was awesome. I mean, the fact that you've seen the clip tells me everything I need to know about that weekend. Mm. Being able to go was mad. I mean, with everything we've had the last year, being able to actually attend a race, that was pretty special. But the race itself, apart from actually going, that's a really iconic race for that incident, for that crash.
And also, I mean, Hamilton, I know, did also race fantastically after the crash as well. Not only, and obviously he got helped with the crash, but massively. What's the word?
Well, his comeback his comeback was incredible because of the crash, he got a 10-second penalty, and Leclerc was leading the whole way, and with 2 laps to go, he caught him and overtook him. But that was the real storyline of the race, and all of us in the grandstands, everyone was cheering Hamilton because it's the British Grand Prix. I was kind of cheering Leclerc because I do quite like Charles, and I kind of wanted him to win. But when 140,000 people are going against you, it's pretty difficult to try and support someone else. But yeah, Hamilton did drive a great race. And I know it's a very divisive topic at the moment on who caused the incident. But incident aside, yeah, he did pretty awesome, in all fairness to him.
Who do you think caused the incident then?
I'm boring, man. I think it's a racing incident. I think both of them were at fault. I look at the crash and think Hamilton could have gone closer to the apex, the inside of the corner, could have hugged it a bit more, but then Max had loads of room on his outside. I think it's just two boys desperate to win. They know they're in a championship fight. They know that these first laps where overtaking is crucial, following so difficult in F1 these days, they wanted to get in front. They wanted to show off in front of the crowd that they can overtake at Copse Corner, and it didn't work. It did not pay off for either of them. And I think, for those that said it was completely Max's fault, completely Hamilton's fault, neither of them want to crash because 99 times out of 100, both of them retired from that race, from that incident, the speed they were going, the G's that they were pulling. So the fact that Hamilton kept on going, borderline miracle, really, as much as people are very unhappy with that fact. But yeah, racing instant for me. I know it's boring. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. See, when I looked at it, I had no clue. To me, it looked like two cars came together and one of them ended up worse than the other. So I guess that's exactly what a racing incident. Yeah, a racing incident is.
Exactly.
Racing incident. Then we come to the conclusion straight away. I would be interested to see what Ben thought, but he isn't here. So
Ben agrees with us. Ben, he'll definitely agree with us. Yeah. He's a veteran F1 fan like me. He'll definitely agree.
Definitely. But obviously, it must have been lovely at Silverstone. It was boiling hot that weekend as well. I mean, not weekend, this week. It must have been incredible.
Feels like forever it's been boiling hot, mate. So don't worry. I cannot remember. I know. It seems like forever ago that it wasn't boiling hot. I'm a very pale individual, so I burn very easy, very, very easy. So if I tell you that more than a bottle of sun cream was consumed or whacked on my body over the weekend, that would still be an understatement. But it was awesome conditions, in all fairness. I really can't moan. Being part of that atmosphere again, it is so special. I'm sure you're the same going to football games. Being there, it's just something so special about it. And seeing a Hamilton victory again, when you're at Silverstone, there's nothing quite like it. That bit of buzz. He was... I know you didn't really follow it this weekend, but in qualifying, Hamilton got pole and the place was electric. Saturday, we then had something called like a sprint quali. That was brand new.
About that.
Yeah. Hamilton didn't win that one. Verstappen did, and the mood wasn't so good. And then, of course, he won the race. He won the race, and it was again electric. It really was awesome weekend. In all fairness,
what was this? So, what is this new sprint thing? To someone who doesn't, I know a bit about it. I've read it in the newspaper and stuff. But to kind of the average viewer, what is this new race? I guess.
Yeah, well, I'll try and be as unbiased as possible because I'm not a huge fan of it. So what it is at the moment, on a normal F1 weekend, we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday's practice, pretty much a waste of time day. Even die-hard fans like me don't usually watch practice. Then on Saturday, we've got quali, and then Sunday, the race. And Formula One, what they want to try and do is to get fans watching every single day and fans attending on a race weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because normally when you pay to go to a race, you just go Saturday and Sunday because it's not really worth it on Friday. So what they did was came up with this new sprint qualifying system where normal quali that was on a Saturday, so your Q1, Q2, Q3, and then whoever gets pole, that moved to Friday. Then in its place on Saturday was a half an hour little race. And then whichever the finishing order of that little race was would then be the grid for Sunday. It's trying to just make more F1 is the idea of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit pointless, if I'm totally honest. But Formula One are trying to mix things up, so I can't fault them for that.
No, you can't. You can't fault them for that. And it will obviously bring more eyes to the whole event. But so Friday's qualifiers are for the sprint race, basically.
Yeah.
So it's basically qualifying for the qualifying of the actual race.
That's exactly it, and it's awkward. Like for a new fan explaining that.
Yeah,
I feel it would just put you off because I feel like for fans that maybe they watch Drive to Survive and then come to Formula One and don't really know the weekend anyway.
Yeah,
they're going to see 3 races or 2 races and a quali and a race that's called a quali and be even more confused. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot of fun being actually at the track and value for money wise, being there for the whole weekend. It was great. I'm happy to be selfish and say it was great, but I imagine watching it from home. I just think it's a little bit too much. I don't think it's needed, and I think that for next year they're thinking about doing it for 8 races. This year it's only 3. They're trialing it. I just think it's not really needed. I think it's too complex. But again, if they want to keep going, if they want to keep changing it, I know they've thought about reversing the grid.
Oh yeah,
something a bit different.
I think I spoke to John, not just John. I think I spoke to F1 Debate Show, and I'm gonna forget his name. He's an Arsenal fan.
Mike?
It might be. What's his channel?
F1 Fanatics?
Yes, it was Mike. Yes, it was Mike.
There you go. I know my Arsenal fans. There's not many of them, thank God.
There's not many of them. Thank Christ.
Don't dislike people for that. I am very, very sorry. I will stick to F1. Don't you worry.
No, I'm sure we'll get into some football at some point. If anything, maybe very, very shortly. We did talk about football at this before the podcast started, and I'm very, very proud to say Dan is a Chelsea fan like me.
I am. Well, not many people know that either, because obviously being F1, I don't really have the
on the Blue Podcast.
I know. Well, I don't really have the opportunity to talk about football normally, so I'm probably going to be an absolute noob, a bot probably. But yeah, I do love my football. To be fair, Chelsea through and through.
I love it. I love it. Maybe we'll have a little bit of a chat at the end about next season and I guess pre-season as well. And are we signing Haaland? Who knows? No one.
Hopefully not. Tammy Abraham's the GOAT. I love Tammy. We need to get him back in the squad.
I do love Tammy, but 41 goals in 41 games or Tammy Abraham Youth Academy product. It's a tough call, I have to say. Very tough call.
Tammy all day of the week.
Oh dear. Would you say the whole F1 fan base agree with you the fact that the sprint was a bit of a silly thing to do, or is it quite 50-50, or is it quite a few people quite like it? I don't know. What's the general consensus?
Well, I'll just kind of preface this by saying, like, being at the race, I didn't really get that social media reaction, which is probably a good thing. But I do think I'm in the minority. I think most people did quite enjoy it.
Okay.
I think most people look at it as more F1, and that can only be a good thing. And I don't disagree with them, because there are certain, without going into too much detail, there are certain things that is better. So we got less practice as a result of having sprint quali. So that made normal quali more unpredictable. So that's a good thing. We saw a little bit more of a mixed up grid on Sunday because of it as well, because Perez in the Red Bull had a big spin through the second sector on one of the early laps. So I can understand why people enjoyed it. I think just for me, I enjoy it as is. I think quali works well. I think the race format works well, and I just don't want to spoil that, really. But we've got 2 more this year, one at Monza in Italy, which should be awesome. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, because quali there is always an utter madness. So throwing in an extra bit of quali and a little race, that should be even more crazy. And then I think they're toying with Brazil, which is also another pretty awesome track, one of the best. But all depends on if we actually go to Brazil. We're not really too sure with the calendar this year. So yeah, I'm in the minority on that one. So I wonder what Ben would think, because I'm mixed definitely on it.
Well, hopefully he watches the podcast and then answers those questions, because at this rate, he ain't bloody turning up, is he? Oh dear. This is just for an inside joke for everyone who works at the Blue Podcast. Ben, this is why you're the janitor. People who are part of the Blue Podcast will understand this. But Ben is basically the janitor of the Blue Podcast.
Well, no one wants him there. Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying he's the real glue of the podcast? He's what keeps it going.
He's more just there. If that makes sense. Literally, wow. we have a seniors team, and his job description is just there. Little exclusive for everyone as well.
I don't want you doing that to the Formula One man. No, we need to give him a promotion.
He's a Man City fan.
Ah, well, Okay, I retract my statement. Okay, that's fair enough. You've won me back on your side now.
Anyway, all jokes aside, Ben, get on the podcast, please. I miss you. You're my co-host. Anyway,
love you, Ben.
Back to some more F1. Actually, that's all the current topics. Is there any other current topics on F1? Obviously, there's the social media backlash on Hamilton. Actually, yeah, should we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, you can do if you want.
Obviously, kind of after the Euros, there was obviously the horrendous social media backlash on Saka, Sancho, and Rashford, and it's kind of sadly continued again the weekend after with all the horrible things that were said about Hamilton. As a racing fan, what are your views on this and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, we had a quick chat beforehand, and I'd said to you, and I'm happy to reiterate it, I just hate social media because there are so many scumbags on it. So many scumbags. There are some lovely, lovely people, but sadly, those lovely people normally are ignored because people like riling up, like putting the worst things out there, and there's even worse people that like it and give it traction. It's just, it's really not for me. I see enough with some of the stuff that I get, and imagining being some of those guys that were taking some of the penalties, being Hamilton this weekend. At the end of the day, it's a football game. It's a race. Yes. Those boys didn't want to miss their penalties. The complete opposite. Hamilton doesn't want to crash out his main rival. And the fact that people take that and take it to race or what gender they are or sexuality, it's just not needed. We're in the 21st century now. We're 2021.
I know.
I don't want to. I could be here for a long time moaning about it because it is so disgusting. And I do hope, maybe selfishly for some of my own comments, but more for some of those guys as well. I do hope legislation-wise things do change because I don't really think it would take a lot if I'm being totally honest. But politics is a tricky place.
It is definitely, and I mean, well, I know four people have been arrested for racially abusing Marcus Rashford, which is, I guess, a step because I don't really think anyone's been arrested really before for social media racism. I know,
not that I've heard of, so that's good.
I know a university rugby player has been kicked out of his university and fired from his job, and I know I think a teacher was fired from their job as well for it. So it's baby steps, but I think for a lot of governing bodies and social media kind of outlets, they're scared to include IDs, etc. Because obviously it will firstly take away a lot of people from social media who want to have fake accounts, etc. A large majority of which will not be for being racist, which is just unfortunate that obviously a lot of those accounts and stuff are the ones we see are those horrible people. But no, it's tricky, but at the same time, it's probably quite an easy solution to it.
Yeah, because bottom line, you just think, well, why can't everyone be nice? Why have you got to have racist scumbags that are online on the internet? But I'm with you. I think it would be nice if there was more legislation, better ways of IDing people, and not even that it would have to be a public ID.
No,
just some way that if they're putting out these tweets or messages or whatever, there's a way that the police or whoever can actually find out who it is. Or, in all honesty, I don't know why it's so difficult for some of these platforms to ban some of these accounts.
Is it not impossible to ban certain terms, words, or even emojis?
Even better. I don't understand why, because I know on the YouTube side of things you can do that. So I can, like, in my settings say, if anyone writes the word, if anyone writes the word, I don't know, let's just pick Pepsi. If anyone puts Pepsi, then they're not allowed to comment it and it's banned. So why more platforms can't do that, I really don't know. Obviously, that doesn't solve the wider issue.
No.
But for, your players, your Rashfords, your Sanchos, that's at least something. That's at least a step. But it just seems that maybe it's because these companies are just so massive and things are so difficult to get through. And like it is so many times, cash is king, sadly. And it really shouldn't on some issues. But like you, I just think it's nice. We're going in the right direction. More is being done, but it's still not enough.
No, it's not enough. But I do also want to touch on the fact that obviously here at the Blue Podcast, we've been blessed with no hate on the channel or our Twitter or Instagram. So I do want to thank everyone who supports us for not being a dickhead, basically, putting it very bluntly.
Well, I've said it wasn't Hamilton's fault, so that might change now. So I'm really sorry in advance.
Well, but if it's constructive criticism to an opinion, it's your own opinion, which is, as long as it's not a racist opinion or about homophobia or anything, then that's fine. But it's when you start degrading someone for who they are, that's too far.
Yeah, and sadly this weekend there's been way too many of that in F1. And I normally thought, and just from the 3 and a bit years I've been doing it, I thought F1 wasn't like that. But after this weekend, I think I was wrong, sadly.
Well, yeah, no, it's exactly the same with football. People were saying, "Oh, we don't need to take the knee anymore. England's not a racist country." And then, literally within, I think, about 2 weeks of people saying that, bang, just blows up straight in their face. And then it's like, oh, maybe we should be taking the knee. Yeah, we definitely should still be taking the knee to make a stand.
Yeah, and especially with the football as well. Like this year, the Euros, that's one of the greatest achievements the England squad have ever achieved.
It literally is. It's the second greatest achievement England have ever made.
Yeah. So why are people doing that? Why are they going to that length? It's madness. And especially Saka as well. All of them. No one should be doing that. But Saka, he carried us through parts of that tournament. He was that real spark halfway through the group stage where we thought, actually, no, we can push on and do well. So, yeah, people, I usually say the term scumbag, but there's far worse things you could say about him. There's just some horrendous people online.
There are. Should we try and cheer up the tone a little bit now, Dan?
If you want. That.
I do, to be honest, Dan. Yeah, I do. Let's get back to F1, which is obviously what you know, and I don't. And Ben has just sent me a Snapchat.
Oh, drum roll, people! Where do
Are
we
you
think he
still
is?
on? Question mark. I've said yes.
Oh, the anticipation.
Well, the anticipation. Yeah. Okay. He'll be joining us very shortly, and
lovely.
Please rinse him.
What shall I say? Shall I call him the janitor? Is that something that really hits home?
Just say like, "Oh, the janitor's late" or something like that.
Okay, I will try my best to throw that in there. I don't want to upset him.
No, you won't upset him.
That would be horrendous if I did. But I'll blame it on you.
You can absolutely blame it on me. It's absolutely. It's his fault for being late. And I guarantee he says he was asleep.
Okay. I would put money on it, but people shouldn't be betting.
You shouldn't be betting, no. Definitely shouldn't be betting.
We're all grown-ups here. You should not be betting.
We should not be betting. No, I do not bet. It's a dangerous game. It's a very dangerous game. And obviously, with football as well, anything can happen.
Yeah. See, with F1 side of things, it's always Hamilton and Verstappen. That's what the best. Not that I know, but
not
that'd be silly not to.
It's just nah. But actually, that reminds me. Who's going to win then? You think this season?
Oh, you're trying to dig me a grave today because I'm happy saying it. All season long, I've said Hamilton, and I still think it is.
Oh, yeah.
And after this weekend, I feel like I'm going to get the real pitchforks after me for saying that one. But he is just so good. He is, in my opinion, one of the greats, if not the greatest of all time in F1. His consistency, it's not quite been there this season like it normally is, but though he's got all the titles, though people say, oh, he's in the best car, the man doesn't crash.
He's not in obviously the best car, is he? Would you say Red Bull is the best car?
I would easily say Red Bull's the best car this year, but Hamilton's crashed into Verstappen this weekend, not ideal. He also had a bit of a moment in Imola as well, where he went wide and into the barriers while it was raining. But apart from that, it's been years since he's had a crash, not just in racing, but in qualifying, in practices. His point streak is always spectacular. Even if he has an off weekend, he is Mr. Consistent. And I think with all that knowledge of having 7 world titles, being with Mercedes for as long as he has, I think it's going to take a lot for Verstappen to overcome that. Don't get me wrong. Max is awesome. Max will be a future world champion. And this year, with the best car, he's got a great chance of doing it. I really think it's a 50-50 split. But my sensible head, for years I've said, it won't be Hamilton. Gone into a season and Hamilton smashed it. So I'm not falling for that this year. I'm going to get ahead nice and early and say Hamilton because he is just so good.
Could you not have jinxed it? But
Probably.
This time you're going for Hamilton, but actually this time it means you're going to lose.
Oh, I'm so used to jinxing it. I'm so used to jinxing it. That's kind of like my thing at this at this point. And with F1, there's only 20 drivers. So like you think to yourself, it's not that hard to jinx it, but somehow I manage to do it all the time. But either way, I think the championship fight, whoever it goes to, it will be great. Because if Hamilton can get that record and get that achievement, that's going to be so good for Formula One. If Max can win it and we go into the new regulations with both of them fighting for the title again, even better. So I really don't care who gets it, just as long as the fight along the way is awesome, really.
Mm-hmm. Did you like my F1 knowledge there, knowing that the Red Bull car was faster than the Mercedes?
Well, I'm sure you've just seen the clip of Hamilton versus Verstappen at the weekend and saw that Verstappen was in front. And just taking an educated guess.
No, I was not. Imagine if it was just because I thought, oh well, that car was in front of that car, so it must be faster. I know that's not quite how F1 works.
Hey, it's close enough.
It's close enough. It's very close. Well, I've heard is there a car? I don't know if it was this season or last season where the two races changed, and the driver went into the car that they thought was faster, but then the person that swapped out of that car actually went into the other person's car and actually started beating the other person in the same team.
Well, I think what you're trying to get at is Hamilton and his teammate Bottas. Okay. They had a swap after Monaco, I think it was, because they said that Bottas's car was a bit rubbish. Hamilton said, well, I'm sure it's not. So they've swapped cars ever since. Yeah. So since Monaco, that was round 5. We're now round 10. Since then, Hamilton's been in Bottas's car and has been just fine. Oh. So there was a bit of a conspiracy, but it's all been thrown out now. But I completely forgot that was a thing. So well done for picking up on that story.
Yes.
You know your stuff.
I listen. Fair enough. Well, Ben should be joining us shortly, and we do normally do questions together. Is he coming? I hope so.
Well, I'll tell you what then. While we wait for the janitor, who do you think's going to win this season?
I think Hamilton's going to win.
Oh, good man. Good man. I hope you just haven't copied my answer.
No, I think he's going to win his 9th?
8th. Pretty close.
8th. It was one off. It's 8th.
It was close enough, yeah.
Ben is here.
Hello there.
Hi, Ben. You all right?
All right, yeah.
Just a little bit late.
Thank you.
I apologize for that.
Were you asleep?
No.
Oh. I called it. From moment one.
You did call it. You were right. I shouldn't have put money on it.
Oh, dear.
How you doing, Ben?
I'm good. You?
Hot.
Yeah.
Very hot.
Same.
And you're a hairy man, so you must be even hotter than me.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's probably true. But we move.
We do move. What was that? That was we did an F1 podcast and a very, very loud car drives past.
I think Honda's just gone past us. No, it was a motorbike. MotoGP
Right.
and that.
Oh yeah, MotoGP, all that kind of stuff. Well, Ben, we have a question for you.
Yeah.
Who's winning the season?
Who's winning?
Oh, we've got 2 questions. We've got 2 questions for you, actually. Go on. Let's answer that one first.
Oh, I'll answer that one. I mean, I might be completely wrong, but I would like Hamilton to win.
Wow. That's definitely not what we both said as well.
We definitely didn't say we want Hamilton to win.
No British bias at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the racing in Silverstone, you feel like maybe the sort of momentum may have shifted slightly, but it's going to be a close race because I think close battle because I think even though obviously Hamilton won in that and Mercedes made improvements, I think Red Bull still have the edge slightly in terms of the car.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be close. It's gonna be interesting, but yeah, I like Hamilton to win, obviously.
So do we. So do we. And then the other question we had for you was, whose fault was the crash, if anyone's?
I mean, I would argue it was a racing incident. Obviously,
wow, such a Hamilton fanboy.
Yeah, obviously from a Hamilton fanboy standpoint. I mean, British bias and all that, but I think obviously, if you're going to give a balanced view, you have to look at both sides of it. Like, so with on Verstappen's side, he's saying that Hamilton should be close to the curb. Maybe on Hamilton's side, you would say Verstappen starts to pinch him in the corner. Yeah, like I can see both sides, but like it's at the end of the day, it's racing. So like
wow, so biased.
it's like
he's joking with you, Ben. He literally said exactly the same thing.
Exactly the
same thing.
Sorry. Fair enough. Yeah.
That's so good. I've literally sat here and asked the same question to two different people and got literally word for word the same answer. It's brilliant. Clearly, you both know your stuff, and clearly you're very British bias.
Yeah. No. I'm not having this. Nothing of the sort. But I think it's one of those. What also happened was Verstappen's a very aggressive driver.
Yeah,
that's just his driving style. Whatever. And a few times that it's happened this season, Hamilton's backed out. I think the last time it happened, Hamilton went, you know what? Next time this happens, I'm going to leave my wheels in there and see what Verstappen does.
Yeah.
So Verstappen did exactly the same thing, went off for it. So he can't. If he gives it, he's got to be able to take it as well.
Yeah, because he even had a little correction, didn't he? Like he started turning in, then thought, Hamilton's there, and then thought, oh, it's Hamilton, it's fine, and then just turned in again. Like, definitely racing incident because Hamilton still had room, but Max still had plenty of room as well.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we think the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was ready to fight just in case you didn't, but that's good.
Oh, no. No, I mean, it's a weird one, really, because I was one of them ones last season where I was like, yeah, Hamilton's won again, whatever. No, yeah. And then, this season, he's the underdog, and you're like, come on, Hamilton, you can do this. So, yeah, no, it is exciting. And I mean, it's one of those, I don't know, the obviously, hype it up, overhyped it, whatever, but it's one of those moments where you think it's going to be one of those montages, that'll be alongside sort of, is it Prost and Senna when they smashed into each other?
Right, exactly. And it'll be on all the intros of F1 and everything for years.
Yeah, that's going to be in the slow-mo. It's going to be like, oh, that's awesome. Like that, yeah.
And Drive to Survive is going to milk every second of it.
Yeah. Who were they with Red Bull this weekend?
I'm not too sure, actually. I know they were at Silverstone, but I don't know what team they were with.
Yeah. I mean, if they are with Red Bull, that's going to be...
Oh, my... The curse strikes again.
Yeah, it's anything, but I mean, I'm sure they'll cover it loads anyway. But,
oh, yeah, definitely.
It's got the potential to be a very very interesting season, and the most interesting season for a long time. Obviously, Mercedes have dominated for the past however many years, and it's not like their fault. Like, we're not going, why are you doing that? Like, obviously you can do that, because if you want to be the best every season, so fair enough. But I think is it maybe 2012, maybe something like that, where it changed a few times who was leading the championship. it was the last time that it was like actually quite exciting. I know there was obviously Hamilton, Rosberg, but like this is the first time it's sort of not within the same team, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's, what'd you call it? Gonna be interesting.
Fair enough. Well, shall we get into the F1 questions, Dan? Are you ready for some F1 questions about you personally?
I am ready. Hopefully they're not too personal, but I'm ready to see what you boys
What's
have
your
got.
full name and bank details?
What is your PIN number?
No, we don't quite go that deep into it. Don't worry. It's more of if your fans came along and watched this, they'll get to know you maybe a bit more personally, which is
awesome.
Which can be nice. Obviously, we've spoken earlier. You went to Silverstone, so you've been to a race, which is a good clarification for what I'm about to ask you. What was the first race you went to?
The first race I went to was Spa, Belgium, in 2015.
Ooh.
Yeah, right.
Someone's jealous.
Not a bad one.
Yeah, that's not a bad one to go to. But, it's obviously it's not come out and gone. Oh, the first one I went to was Monaco, but like it's still a fairly decent track to go to for your first one. I got to say.
It was awesome, and I'm a huge Romain Grosjean fan as well.
Right.
And Tom, you probably got no clue, but Grosjean,
absolutely no idea.
But you would have definitely seen clips of Grosjean, but it's normally him crashing.
Yeah.
That's where you would have seen. He was the one that big fire last year.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Do you remember that last year, Tom?
Yeah, no, because I think we spoke about it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Well, that was my boy. That's the helmet on screen as well because I love him. He's my man. And Spa 2015, he managed to get a podium in that race, just completely out of the blue as well. And it ended up being his last podium, so it's quite an awesome weekend to go to. In all fairness,
cool.
That's very nice. Very nice. Ben, have you got a question to ask?
Am I supposed to have the questions up?
Yeah, you are. He's late. Hasn't got the questions up.
Make one up.
When
just
you're
shoot
really
one.
much more organised, Dan. Please believe me.
You boys are far more organised than I am, so this is fine. Don't worry.
You mean I am very organised.
Here we go. I've got the questions now. What's your favourite ever race? It can either be that you've been to or seen on TV.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, my favourite one I've been to is definitely Belgium 2015, just because of what I just said. But I think my favourite one I've actually watched, Canada 2011 was insane.
Yeah.
With JB Jenson Button winning, coming from the back multiple times. I actually think Turkey last year. I love that race with Lance Stroll getting pole position. I mean, that tells you all you need to know about that race if Stroll's on pole. A wet race. Hamilton seemed like he was out coming back. Verstappen maybe winning. Albon maybe winning. Stroll, Perez, Seb on the podium. Bit of everything. And then Hamilton equaling the 7 world titles as well. Grosjean had a stinker. Grosjean was rubbish that race, but we'll forget about that. Everything else was awesome. So, yeah, I think Turkey last year for me.
I remember this race. I do remember this race from a podcast.
It might be. I mean, it might be Turkey, but it might be the. Was it Monza last year that?
That was all over the place. Yeah, Gasly won that one. Yeah, that was madness as well.
Yeah.
That was a great race.
Yeah. So Gasly in an AlphaTauri won, and Sainz in a McLaren came second. I've forgotten what I mean.
And Stroll third.
Stroll third, yeah. what happened to Hamilton? Got a penalty for going into the pit lane or something when he shouldn't have.
There was. I remember Magnussen broke down on the edge of the pit lane, and they called a yellow flag, and they blocked the pit lane. Hamilton went in and had to go to the back, and then when the safety car ended, Leclerc went into the barriers through the final corner, and there was a red flag.
Right.
So that's why Gasly. Then they did like a standing start. And I think it was Stroll on pole then as well. And Hamilton and Stroll on the front, and then Hamilton did his penalty and went to the back. And then Gasly decided he was going to become prime Michael Schumacher and go on and win.
Yeah, I mean, I am happy for Gasly in some ways because, well, not in some ways. I am happy for him because I mean, obviously you've watched Drive to Survive and Horner is just absolute arse.
Savage. Yeah, I know.
So like, it's gone. Obviously, do you know? Have we talked about this before, Tom? Gasly.
We've dabbled.
Yeah. So basically, he got promoted. So Red Bull and AlphaTauri previously Toro Rosso. Red Bull are the main team. AlphaTauri sister team.
Oh, we have spoken about this. Yeah,
Gasly got promoted to Red Bull. It's an in Drive to Survive. Basically, Verstappen is their golden boy. Like he can't do it. He can't do any wrong.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Like they love him. And then so it's like say so Gasly is at Red Bull. Say Verstappen goes to Horner. Oh, I'm in a problem, but I need to. So it's all right. You know, it'll be fine. You know, you'll get past it. Gasly goes to him. Oh, I'm having a problem with this that, and he's like, all right, whatever. Like it doesn't care.
It's not my problem.
Yeah, you can move to the side. Verstappen's here, so like, and he obviously was struggling in that, and then he got demoted halfway through the season, and they promoted Albon, and Gasly. Then he got. I think it was the season after he got a second place, and then he's obviously gone on to win a race as well.
It was that season.
That season,
right? Yeah, in Brazil at the end, yeah.
So proving that he can do it, and when he's in a team that actually supports him, and he's not got as much pressure with it not being a top team, but he's shown that he's got he can do it. So, I mean, it's going to be difficult for him to actually go on to get a drive at a top team because I can't see him wanting to go back to Red Bull.
Right.
Like so. I don't know where maybe at Alpine. I mean, it's not going to be challenging, but like I don't see where else he would go. I don't know what you think about that on Gasly.
I love him. I think he's awesome, and he's just so consistent now. He's gone back to AlphaTauri, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like he's like a different man than him in Red Bull because. He wasn't very good in the Red Bull. It's sad to say, but he struggled so much, bless him. And then, like you say, back to Toro Rosso, got that podium in Brazil and won in Monza. And then he's got a podium this year in Baku as well. So he's obviously got the speed to be a top driver. He's got the consistency to be a top driver. But like you, I can't see that door, that seat that's available in a top team and a team that's willing to take the gamble because obviously when he was at Red Bull, he wasn't very good. So I'd like to see. I'd love to see Red Bull give him a chance, and I'd love to see him do well. But I just don't want to see him get hurt. I don't want to see him go back and it be horrendous again. So I think Alpine's a good shout. I think next year it's going to be too soon because Ocon's got a new contract. Alonso's got his 2 years. But maybe if Fernando leaves next year, maybe Gasly and Ocon together. I don't think they get on very well, but they'll be fine. They'll have to grow up.
I mean, I bet the thought of that for Alpine would be fantastic. I mean, two French drivers.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like, fantastic.
Like McLaren when they had Hamilton and Button, but just the French version.
I remember that happening, and it was like, really, like these two top drivers in the same team. I was like, whoa, that's amazing. Like it's one of those times. It's like in a transfer in football. Like when you look at it, you're like, "Oh, that's actually happened." Like, it was like, that's pretty cool. That's going to be like ace or whatever. Didn't turn out to be, but
it's like when Werner went to Chelsea and everyone thought, "Oh my God, we're going to win the Premier League," and then he missed a few goals.
Just to clarify, Ben, we have got another Chelsea fan on the podcast.
Sorry, Ben.
Oh,
sorry, man.
Well, what does that make it now? It's like, I mean, the amount of Chelsea fans we are on the podcast now is quite high, isn't it?
Skyrocketing.
It's almost like the organised.
I think it's tactics. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's almost like I'm a Chelsea fan who helps run the channel and gets the guests on.
Yeah, it's almost so when I was like, doing my scouting, you like, I know you're a Chelsea fan, like.
I didn't actually know that. Apparently, this is a Blue Podcast inside look that he's a Chelsea fan, and not many people know about this.
Yeah, not many people do. I mean, you're going to struggle to find City fans. Sorry about that. That's just facts.
I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, I was saying to Tom, I don't normally get booked, but it's nice.
It's good.
Oh.
I mean, that can't be too many that few City fans if we're going to have a not brand new second episode of the Sky Blue Show on Monday. Am I right, Ben?
Yeah. I mean, that's the plan.
It's the plan.
Like, and you know what I'm like with plans, so
yeah. Just,
sure,
I mean, it's at 10 p.m. So I mean, you shouldn't really be asleep having a nap, should you? Fingers crossed. Okay, no, I've jinxed it. Okay.
You jinxed it. I'm gonna be like, oh, sorry, I had a late nap.
Wait, that would have been 5 different shows, 5 days in a row. And if you get that Sky Blue show out on Monday.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not the one hosting it this time, so.
Actually, you might go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm joking. Anyway, back to some F1 before I insult Ben too much.
Yeah.
Who are your top 5 favorite racers / drivers, Dan? This is probably a difficult one to answer, but
well, you know one.
Oh,
in any order.
Yeah, you know, number one is King Romain Grosjean.
You can name him one.
And my internet just cut out a second ago, so apologies about that. I live in the middle of nowhere, so it's a bit horrific. But my favourite driver is number one's Grosjean. I'm gonna have to do the next 4. Yeah, I can't. I do love Gasly. To be fair, he would be in my top 5. Leclerc would be in my top 5 as well. A real French theme going on here at the moment. Kevin Magnussen, he probably makes my top 5, and George Russell is who I'll go with as my 5.
Well, Hamilton. I know I'm quite a naive person to say this, but
I know, not Hamilton. All my family are massive Hamilton fans, but he's made contact with Grosjean a few too many times. So he hasn't raced Grosjean for the last few years because Grosjean's been so far behind. But back in the day,
used to be touching wheels right and centre. It was effectively, you know what happened with Hamilton and Verstappen? That's what it was every week.
Yeah, but Grosjean would just pick a new driver to crash into. That's the thing.
Yeah. Oh,
and Tom, just so you know, Grosjean back in the day had such a reputation for crashing. He got banned for a race because he was crashing so often. Yeah,
I think it was in Drive to Survive. I can't remember. I think it was a different teams like engineer or something or like mechanic or something was like bet you Grosjean crashed.
Yeah,
and he went and crashed in the race. Like
was this the program that I think it was 2 F1 podcasts ago you guys told me to go watch, and then you told me again to watch it last F1 podcast, and I still haven't watched it.
Go watch
it. I need to watch it.
It's a cracking
it's
series.
on Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, my dad loves it as well because obviously he's the reason why I like F1 a little bit.
Yeah, I'm the same. Obviously not your dad, my own dad, but yeah.
Just to clarify.
But yeah, like he loves it because he likes it. Because I mean, I think it's the reason why every person who likes F1 likes it is because you see more than what you see just
definitely
on the race day, like and the normal coverage. Like you see obviously behind the scenes and stuff, and you get to see a bit more of sort of the dynamic and the inner workings of it. That's why it's really good.
Definitely watch it, Tom. Watch. It's got to be the top of the list. I'm gonna send you a message in a week's time to check if you've watched it. It's so good. And if this is now the 3rd podcast where people have mentioned it, you know it's good.
Yeah, I know. It's actually reminded me of it as well. So yeah, I will try and watch it. I will try my best. It's called what's it? Race.
Drive to Survive. Come on, Tom.
Drive to Survive. Sorry. You know what? I'm going to put it at the end of my notes.
Oh,
good man.
So that next time we have an F1 podcast, which I think could be October, a little teaser for our followers.
That's a while off.
Yeah, but we've been planning. October's going to be a special month, isn't it, Ben? So October's a big month coming up. So maybe I'll say October's I've got to watch it by. I'll give myself a deadline.
That's plenty of time.
There should be plenty of time.
You need to watch it all the way through twice then if we're getting to
Oh,
October. That's your challenge.
And you
I've
can
just
like
started Naruto.
you can narrate it word for word.
Oh dear. I know, but I literally just started Naruto, and that's long. So.
You can tell us exactly what Cristiano said to Gasly when he was being announced.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna.
No.
I'm not one for rewatching a show personally.
Fair enough.
Sounds like a cop out to me.
Yeah. No, it's I mean, should we? I've got other questions in my head. Shall I just read these ones off and then?
No, do your question.
I was gonna. I don't know. You might have asked it already, but have you got? What's your top 5 favorite liveries?
Oh, that's a question and a half. I mean, I won't keep you for half an hour because I could keep going. Again, I'm going to be
Ben
really
loves
biased.
This question.
Oh yeah,
you love this question, Ben.
It's a great question, Ben.
Yeah. So,
I'm gonna forget some. Like I'm guessing people have given you some great answers, but I loved last year's Haas. Surprisingly, you didn't know that. The Brawn. Everyone says the Brawn, but the Brawn was just that was just a bit too good. Yeah. I really, really loved the one I normally say is my number one favorite is the 2017 Sauber, and it's a really strange pick. It's like blue and white with a bit of gold through it. No one can ever remember what on earth I'm on about.
I'm gonna have to search that.
I love that livery. I think it's so nice. Any of the Jaguars in the mid 2000s, I think is great. I think this year's Aston Martin's just missing that bit of special green for me. Not quite as British racing green as I'd want it to be.
Still looks nice.
Oh yeah, still looks good. Just missing that little bit of sparkle. I love the Alpine this year. I love the Alfa Romeo the last couple of years as well. So I'll be more definitive now. I'll go last year's Haas, my 2017 Sauber, the Brawn in 09, Jaguar 2003, and is there any glaring ones I'm missing, Ben? Am I being stupid here?
What's that blue one that you always talk about? The blue and white one. The white and blue one? There was one that I think...
The Marlboro, maybe? The McLaren?
He's just, I think he said that one. It's the Sauber.
Okay, that's the Sauber. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know the name. I just knew that was wrong. I remember we've looked up during a podcast once, and I was like, I like that as well.
Oh no, there's a. I mean, this is a bit more retro, but like I just love the look of it when I've seen it and stuff. The white and red McLaren, but the retro. I just think I wish I know they're orange now and all that, but I really want them to bring that livery back.
It's so iconic. Yeah. Oh, I do love that one. For you, I'll throw that one in because I'm struggling to think. I would throw in the 2014 Caterham, but I've already got a green one, so I got to spice it up a little bit.
And
McLaren a couple of years ago had a good one.
But they was it because they had like the silver and red when like Hamilton was there and stuff like that, and then I've forgotten what they kind of moved on to into the was it I don't know.
It went to like just a black and red in 2015. Yeah. That was not great. And then after that, they've just done orange and then papaya the last couple of years, which I do like. I do think it's a lot of fun.
It's not bad. Like it's just that livery is so iconic.
Yeah, exactly. McLaren are pretty good on the liveries, to be fair. I'm sure someone one day, if you ask them top 5, will just name 5 McLarens because they're normally so good.
Yeah, no.
I forgot Lotus. Hold the phone. Lotus is going to have to be my number 5. Lotus is going to have to make it into it. I'm sorry, 2012 Lotus. That's got to be in there.
Grosjean's that one's definitely come up before as well, hasn't it? The Lotus one's definitely come up before.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd have been screamed at if I forgot that one. Crikey.
Not so much of a fan of the Russian Haas this season.
It's definitely got, I feel like 80s vibes to it. I feel like it's quite retro. I think the fact it's just a giant Russian flag though ruins it.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, no, it's not the Russian flag. It's not. It's
not the Russian flag. It just is the Russian flag.
Slapped it on there. It was like part of the deal for Mazepin's dad's investment or something. Like,
yeah, all a bit shady.
Yeah, but yeah. What's the other question? I'll just get them up.
Actually, wait. Yeah, whilst you do that, I can't believe I've completely forgotten at the start of this podcast something I needed to say. We have new merch out today. quite a big thing to forget.
You left it to the end of the podcast.
No, I know, but people don't watch all the way to the end normally. So
very
I do look at the analytics and I'm like, okay, 1 minute 30 and you've gone. Okay. I was supposed to mention this at the start. We've got brand new merch out as of today. The original OG stuff is gone. We have put notices out. So if you have missed it, you missed it. Everyone that's got items, they're now collectibles. Yay. And that's all I wanted to say anyway. Continue, Ben.
Cool. I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Before a race, I mean, it's a bit of a weird one, this, because it's not like you're participating yourself, but do you have like any superstitions or whatever that you do? Like,
any pre-race rituals?
Yeah. Just put your own helmet on or something. Like.
I always make sure I'm wearing F1 merch, so I may have to add the Blue Podcast merch to that collection just to put it through with the rest of them, especially now there's new merch as well.
It's not out yet when we're recording it, but it'll be out when this video is out.
Oh, I'll be on that straight away. Don't you worry. So I always wear a bit of merch, but not really. I never get up to get a drink or snacks through the race. That can't be happening. I'm not missing a lap.
How long's the race?
About 2 hours maximum.
You are crazy.
Yeah, you just get your stuff before it, and then you
exactly.
You sat down, like
Ben. We don't have no half time in F1. You just got to keep going for the long haul.
With me, let's say I'm having a beer in about half time, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to go to the loo.
Wait, you can't go to the loo with F1, I'm afraid. That's part of the rules. The drivers aren't allowed, so if you're watching, you're not allowed.
Oh, that reminds me of the fighter pilot one. That was so funny. They were talking about like they'd be in a fighter pilot, and well, not them specifically, and they'd have to be in there for like 48 hours in this tight little thing, and they have to like pee. Yeah, it's crazy.
They're in long haul flights, like it's a long haul mission. Like they just can't. Like unless they're practical about it, like. You know.
Yeah, he said that the going to a number 2 would be a very, very interesting one because then you've also got to store it next to you for the rest of the
yeah, you can't just wind down the window and throw it out.
That reminded me of that. That was quite funny. It is a simple, but I'm sure very difficult one for you to answer. Okay. I've actually just repeated the question. Sorry about that.
Move on to the next one.
Move on to the next one. How have you found this season so far?
Oh, it's great. I'm absolutely loving it this year. I honestly think it's been one of the best seasons for years, just because we got that bit of a fight at the front. The midfield, I mean, it's as competitive as ever. We've got young drivers coming through. Lando Norris just being so good this year. So good. He's been on the podium 3 times. We've got Sainz on the podium, Leclerc on the podium, Gasly on the podium, Vettel and Aston Martin on the podium. Everyone's been on the podium this year. And I really can't fault it. And I know after each race, I normally give it a score, so out of 10. And I've done that for the last 3 years. And already this year, my scores have been so much better. And Tom, you won't quite get this like Ben will. France is rubbish. The French Grand Prix is horrendous. It's normally 2 hours of everyone going in a line, and that's it. So if you want someone to watch F1, you don't send them to the French Grand Prix. This year, it was great. This year was really good. There was strategy intrigue. There was dramas at the front, dramas at the back. We had Schumacher getting to Q2 despite crap. Everything was going on. So, yeah, this year I've been absolutely loving it. One of my favourites, and we're not even halfway.
What's your what race would you say, if you're new to F1, you got to watch this specific race, like your first race? I'm asking this actually, to be fair, is quite a personal question.
From this season or just any season?
just like a gen, like as you said, you normally would say don't watch France.
Oh,
Which one would you say for a new viewer?
I would say the British GP. I'd say Silverstone.
Okay.
Because even if it's not a great Silverstone, so this year wasn't a great Silverstone, it's still a really good race because it's a track where you can overtake, you can have big incidents like the one at the weekend. There's normally just a little bit of everything. It's a great track. It's easy to follow. Some of them, Japan, for example, I always just think it's a little bit messy for new fans because it's really tight and narrow. You don't normally get much strategy. It's normally a one-stop. It's got great history behind it, but at least with Silverstone, I feel you're going to get a little bit of everything. But Italy, that's always a great race. Belgium's normally a great race as well. But yeah, I think the British GP just edges it. Definitely no British bias again.
No.
Never.
It's a theme today.
Yeah, no, it is obviously it's like as they say, it's the birthplace of F1.
Yeah, right.
And it like you say, it's for all those reasons, but also it's a cracking track because if you're watching it, they're going through corners flat out. It's a really fast track, so like it's mind-boggling numbers and just absolutely razzing it like. and a corner,
yeah.
You're like, whoa, like. But, so it's a really fast track, but obviously it's entertaining because they're just going quick all the time.
Yeah. It's an awesome one. Most of them are pretty good. Like it's easier just to pick out the terrible ones like France and Abu Dhabi, but yeah, I think Silverstone. There's just something special about Silverstone.
Yeah, I mean, like my dad was that like. I'm not maybe showing his age a bit. He's not that old, but he's he's been to a few Grand Prix back in the day, and he's been to both Silverstone and Brands Hatch.
That's cool.
And he he was saying to me, "Oh, do you fancy going Silverstone one year?" I was like, "Oh yeah." He was like, "Oh yeah," you'd
love it.
I was talking to him about how when he went and stuff, and he was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Oh, I bet it was like dirt cheap when you went here." It's like, yeah, it was only
just get in for a tenner.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, we just, a couple of quid. We slept in the car and we just walked up to the track, like just across the road. Like it was like, oh
yeah, cool. You definitely can't do that anymore.
No.
That's the same with football. If I'm gonna try and take it from like it's exactly the same with football. Though I remember my dad saying he'd literally get the train to Stamford Bridge, pay on the door, and go stand when he was younger. Like it's completely changed every kind of sporting event, and obviously our dads kind of can look back at the good old days, as they sometimes say now, of when it was cheaper and a lot easier to go watch these events. Because obviously, I mean, Ben, have you been to an F1 race yet?
No, I do really want to. So I think maybe next year go to Silverstone. You can come if you want.
I would love to come. Maybe we can meet John and Dan there. That'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Stay away from John. Stay away from it. You don't know John as well, do you, Ben?
I don't know.
Oh, good man. Yeah. You don't want to know him.
Is he a Verstappen fan?
Oh, probably. He stinks of a Verstappen fan.
I might clip that for the TikTok. Is John a Verstappen fan? Yeah, he stinks of a Verstappen.
That's one in the bank. It's one in the bank.
That's one in the bank for the TikTok.
But it was. My dad was saying as well about Brands Hatch. There's a bit in Brands Hatch where I think it's a hairpin or something, or there's a corner that goes behind trees, and then you can't see, and then they come out behind like the other side of the trees, and it was always like, you
didn't know who was where, kind of thing.
Didn't know who was winning, so sometimes like they would overtake behind the trees, and then someone else would be leading.
It's almost just lost in the trees, and they had no idea. Like, where's it gone?
But said it was cracking. So Silverstone, good one.
Right enough. We've got the last kind of F1 question.
Yeah. What do you think the future looks like for F1? I mean, obviously, they've released like the concept of what the cars are going to look like with the new regulations. I mean, what do you think? Do you like the look of them? And two, do you think that's actually going to make much of a difference? Or
I put it this way, I hope it makes a difference. I really do, because even though I'm loving this year, it would be so good if we had Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin, Alpine, everyone just fighting for wins. And the whole point of these regulations is to make that happen, is to make it more accessible for your Williams. We'll forget about Haas today, but for most of the teams, it's to make them competitive. It's to make the sport unpredictable. And if they can achieve that, I'm all for it. I think Formula One is heading in a great direction. Some of the track choices, Saudi Arabia coming into the mix, I'm questioning a bit. Even the Miami track, all being street circuits, I think that's a bit boring, a bit lazy. But overall, I think their head's in the right place, and I think they're aware that the entertainment side of things been lacking a little bit over the last few years, and that's what they're focusing on. And Ross Brawn, the guy who's now pretty much running Formula One, I think he's the right man to be doing it. He's been there with Ferrari and Schumacher. He was there with Brawn. He knows what makes Formula One tick, and I think it's in very, very safe hands.
Yeah. No, I mean, for what we're talking about with the new regulations, Tom, is so in the current cars, it doesn't really allow for sort of close racing behind, because when the car comes behind another car, they're in dirty air, so it's difficult, obviously, with the aero and the cornering. Obviously, you get the slipstream on the straights, but with that, the wheels start overheating. So you'll see what you'll tend to see in a race is that the guy behind will come up, get close behind, try and overtake, can't overtake because the cars are like ridiculously wide anyway. And then his tires will start to overheat. So then you have to drop back, cool them down, and then have another go. So it doesn't really allow them to sort of wheel race, really. So the new regulations, the cars are changing slightly where it'll allow for that a bit more. And so like the rear wings are changing slightly. And I think the front wing is it larger? I think it's
a bit larger, yeah, and I think it's a little bit more robust as well, so it doesn't just suddenly fall off anymore with like the slightest bit of contact. So it should just make racing in general a whole lot more easier for the drivers. They can follow each other, they can actually whack each other a little bit. Obviously not extreme, not like this weekend, but they can actually rub tires and get their elbows out.
No Senna or Prost moments.
No, exactly. I mean, if they want to do that, that's fine with me. If they want to cause drama.
We've been saying that a lot. Do you know the Senna and Prost moment?
I think we spoke about it before.
Yeah. I mean, so if I remember this rightly, the season before, it was Prost versus Senna for the title, and there was a tell me if you remember this. So there was I forgot which race it was, but obviously they were wheel to wheel racing, cracking, fantastic. And then I think Senna goes off, and then he weaves in between like the escape road to re-enter the race. And Prost, I can't remember if he goes and win it or whatever, but Prost...
They crashed into each other, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's what it was. And then Senna rejoined through the weaving.
Yeah. And then after the race, Prost... Because Prost, he was called... My dad says he was called the Professor. Because Prost was the sort of driver who, if he had to get fourth place to win the title, he'd get fourth place. He wouldn't overexert the car. So he obviously knew all about the regulations and stuff. Bit of a nerd, and he was like, "Hey, Senna's not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to re-enter the race going through the escape road." So he got disqualified from the race. Then Prost won the title. The season after, I think Senna just needed Prost not to finish the race to win the title. So first corner, going along, just smashes into him, smashes him off the track. He's DNF, but Prost is DNF, so he wins the title. Calm, fantastic. So like that's what like back in the day, F1 has those like seasons that
those dirty races. I think we've spoken about that one before. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, it's so iconic. So it's worth a mention.
I mean, it's really not sportsmanship, but it's
yeah. I mean,
at the same time though, like
it's entertainment, and
but like, at the same time, when he won.
From Senna's point of view, like he'd be seething from what happened the season before. So that like he's like, well, you've just like been an arse to me. I'm just gonna be an arse to you. Like, that's like what he was thinking, isn't it? So yeah, no, it's yeah. I've forgotten how do we even get onto that? Wheel to wheel.
Yeah, me saying people are going to start crashing into each other because I'm stupid. Yeah. That's why.
No, it is right though. Like, hopefully, it does allow, and like you say, I mean, obviously, hopefully, more cars are sort of challenging at the front.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if it's only McLaren and Ferrari that catch up to Red Bull and Mercedes, that'd be fantastic. Like
still enough. And like if it just means each weekend a different car is the best car, great. Like it doesn't even, like you said, it doesn't need to be half the grid are winning, but if it's just 3 or 4 teams, that's great. Rather than it just being a podium like last year when it was basically going to be Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, the podium. As long as we're getting that bit of mix, it's great.
Yeah, you could just predict it. I mean, it started to say at the start of this season, it was like, I think it was at the first race. It was dead exciting, but it's like, well, what's the podium? Oh yeah, Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas.
It's like the opposite to Monaco, where it was the deadest race but the awesomest podium.
Yeah. So it's like we got there in a more exciting way, but it's still the same ending. But no, it's I mean on the new cars as well. It's got like these flaps over the wheels, and I don't know if that's to do with sort of some sort of aero thing or something. They've not really explained it, but like it does look cool.
I'm with you. Like I'm the furthest away from an engineering mind, but I can tell you it looks cool.
Cool, it was cool.
Almost like trying to an engineering student.
Oh, tell us more.
I have absolutely no idea I do civil. I teased you there. I teased you.
Yeah, I was specialised in F1 at engineering at uni.
You'd have known about that if I did that.
Yeah, no, I would have known about that, but it might have only been a recent thing.
No. Should we ask you some kind of YouTube based questions, Dan? Are you happy with that?
Sure, feel free.
Brilliant. Well, obviously you said you've been doing YouTube for 3.5 years now.
Yeah, this is my 4th season.
Okay.
So 3.5 years kind of thing.
Fair enough. Well, what event or person inspired you to start in the first place?
It's
I know it's a while ago now.
Yeah, I wish the man who made the legend. A long time ago, before I was racing reviews and every other name I've had under the sun, I was a gaming YouTuber when I was a kid. I just loved making videos, and they're all horrendous. Most of them are still online, and like it would be like Minecraft, like Black Ops 1. What else would have been around? I even did like Lego games and stuff. That's how embarrassing this got. So I've always like done it, and then just before I went to uni, I started to. I had about I think 2,000 subscribers on it in the end, and I'd been doing it for like 5 or 6 years. It was all horrendous. I realized, well, I don't really want to be making Minecraft or anything like that anymore. I don't even like it. I'm just doing it because it works. And I thought, I'm just going to try F1. I'm going to give it a go, because my favorite YouTuber is a guy called Hello Greedo, and he's a massive Star Wars nerd like me. But he's just really authentic. I always found he only did content if he wanted to do it. If he didn't like it, he just wouldn't do it. So I thought I need to kind of have that same mentality. And if I love F1, which I do, I want to talk about F1. I want to do F1. And that's really where it came from, to be honest. And I like you boys, I never thought anyone would actually want to listen. So when they actually did, it's an added bonus, really.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's he's got a lot going for you. Like he's into F1. He likes Star Wars. Like
He's a Chelsea fan.
What's Chelsea?
Yeah, Chelsea.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I like a bit of Star Wars. So yeah.
I think deep down we all do. We all do.
Yeah.
I mean, we could. I'm sure we could go on a full tangent about Star Wars.
Yeah. Are you that into Star Wars that you're watching?
Bad
the
Batch. Of course. I'm
I've
looking
been
forward
meaning
to
to.
tomorrow
Yeah.
morning.
So you're not on the same level as us, Tom.
No, sorry. Have you been watching it as well, Ben?
Oh,
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
good man, Ben. Good man.
Yeah,
I've been told to watch it, but I've been so busy.
it's actually quite good. Like,
No. I've been told it's really good.
Yeah. Like, get on it.
I watched
Right.
Clone Wars. I watched all the Mandalorians. Obviously, everyone bloody did. That was that was fantastic.
Yeah.
I watched quite a bit of Rebels. Obviously, all the movies.
Like if you watch Rebels, then obviously I'm both Clone Wars and Rebels. You'll like Bad Batch. Like it's got ties to both of them. So yeah. That's
Yeah,
good.
definitely.
Yeah. I think it's my turn for a question now.
You can keep going with the
Ben-
Star Wars if you
Ben,
want. That's cool with me.
What's your favorite Star Wars movie of all time?
What's that?
Rogue One, hands down. Love Rogue
Rogue
One.
One. Yeah, good
Ooh,
one.
Shout! That Darth Vader scene at the end is just
Yeah.
Oh, I get the
Unbelievable.
chills now thinking about being in the cinema when that happened.
it was-
Oh
it
my
was-
god.
that scene was just like something. I guess a lot of Star Wars fans have just been waiting for something like that. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like a
right.
live action proper Darth Vader scene where he just kicks ass. And he literally did exactly that.
Just a scene where kids are crying in the cinema. Like that's all I want to see. And we got it.
Yeah, and then they basically recreated it with the Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian.
Oh,
That scene as well was
double chills.
I mean, do you want to keep on talking about Star Wars, Ben, or do you question?
I mean, we can carry on with these questions. Like, if you go on Star Wars.
I'm enjoying Star Wars for now, you know.
All right, we'll keep on Star Wars then.
Have we ever actually spoken about Star Wars on the podcast? Because obviously
I think we have with the couple of comic book people.
we haven't quite gone in depth with it, have we?
No. I mean, we can talk about that sort of the new shows that they're coming out with. So, like, Book of Boba Fett, I think it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, end of the year, I think, isn't
End of the
it?
year. Yeah, that. Looking forward to that. Because I watched Clone Wars. I'm quite looking forward to Ahsoka.
Yeah, anything Dave Filoni, anything that he's got his hands on, you just know it's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. But I can't remember. Is it Acolyte that's set? Far in the past.
Yeah, I
That'll be
think that's
interesting.
before the High Republic. Is it now called? I think it's the High Republic.
Yeah, it was the High Republic before, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Well, if that's canon, comic book canon still, I think.
I think the High Republic's the new canon. It's the Old
Yeah.
Republic that's no longer canon. And Knights of the Old Republic, which is no longer canon, which is big sad.
Yeah, no. They've changed it quite a bit with obviously there was so many like I'm more of a comic book side, hence we don't comic book ones. I'm trying to it's with comic books it's so hard to understand what's canon and not canon because there's just so many of them. Whereas with the shows at least it's easy to do.
Yeah, right.
But no, I thought when they did Ahsoka in Mandalorian, I thought they nailed it.
Oh yeah.
Considering like they could have really stuffed that.
Yeah.
But I was when I saw because I think I didn't watch any of the trailers for the Mandalorians, so that when I watched it, it was completely like spoiler free.
Oh,
And when I saw her jump out, I was just like, I wasn't expecting it.
I tried to do the same, but I'd just seen rumors for so long.
Yeah.
And I've got a friend who just loves spoilers. And he was like, Dan, have you seen Ahsoka's going to be in The Mandalorian? I was like, shush, don't tell me. I don't want to know. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a great episode. And like, obviously you're still surprised, like when she popped that right at the beginning of it. But I feel it was tainted. And the fact, like, I kind of knew Boba Fett was coming back as well, because he also spoiled that for me. Disgusting. Again, still great.
Yeah, no,
Did he
it's
spoil
still...
Skywalker for you as well?
No.
Oh,
And
at least he
I
got
made
that.
sure I watched that as soon as it came out, because I just assumed the finale would be great. I didn't think it'd be that good. So,
Yeah.
and then I rewatched it with him, funnily enough, just to get his reaction, just to get one up, to get my own back on the season.
No, I mean, it's like you're saying. Anything that Dave Filoni's got his hands on is going to be good, and it's one of the few times where I think, you know, like, because the fans were wanting Rosario Dawson to play her.
Yeah.
It's one of the few times that it's like a fan casting is actually right.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually worked for once.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, that's actually, you know, it makes sense. This looks good. It's like, 'cause usually it's like you're getting, I don't know, like Dwayne Johnson to play Spider-Man or something like. It's like nothing like that, you know.
There's a TikTok for you, Dwayne Johnson Spider-Man. Like.
Yeah, there we go. One in the bank. It was good.
Yeah, the whole in a bank thing was quite funny between me and Ben, because I keep on asking, because I'm busy. I keep on asking, like, could you try and find some clips, and he then send me a couple, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's me done for the next 5 days.
Good man.
You see, I do work, you know. But,
the janitor still does his job.
The janitor, that's the name. But yeah, and then you got Boba Fett obviously being a badass with his dad bod.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, it was good.
And like, even from that little end cutscene from the end of Mandalorian season 2, where there was that little teaser for the Book of Boba Fett, like that was enough to get me excited. Like, if you'd have told me beforehand, I'd have thought, why are you doing that? Just give me another season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But just give me anything at the moment, Star Wars. Like, some people moan about Disney, and I'm not the biggest fan of The Last Jedi. I love Force Awakens. I think Last Jedi and Rise were there's bits I definitely don't like, bits I love, but bits I wasn't a big fan of. But I think since then, I think they've been pretty bang on.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's a bit of the sort of DC universe syndrome where they just didn't plan the films. So
yeah, definitely.
It was going to be crap. Like, Force Awakens, like it was cracking. Like, I remember the first scene where it's like the flickering lights, and you got the stormtroopers like, whoa!
Yeah.
Then they just completely ballsed it up with The Last Jedi, and then The Rise of Skywalker spent the whole film correcting what they did in.
Exactly. And like that leaked script from Trevorrow, like, it seemed like some really cool stuff in that. But you're right. I think they were just too busy trying to just fix all the holes that The Last Jedi had done. And there was some cool stuff in The Last Jedi. Canto Bite was not one of those cool things. That I can happily forget that. But yeah, I don't know. I felt a bit lackluster at the end.
Yeah. Was his film going to be called Duel of the Fates?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that
all of that. That's so cool.
Yeah, it would have been cool. But
what could have been?
But they like we were saying about the plan, like with the Disney Plus shows, they quite clearly have a plan, and it's mainly to do with Dave Filoni, really. That they
like the Clone Wars season 7, like that had been planned years ago, obviously before it was cancelled, and the fact that Filoni kept to that plan and that season ended up being just so good. And like, it's still at like the top of IMDb for most of that final arc.
Yeah, I mean, I was, because my brother, he likes Star Wars, but he's not like as into it as like,
he's not us.
He's not us. But he was like, I was watching the clip of it's the scene at the end where Vader goes and he picks up Ahsoka's lightsaber, kills, and you're like, oh. And he was like, like, even though I've not watched it, and because of sort of the way they did the Clone Wars series, it feels like it's got more like it's got more meaning to it, that scene.
Yeah, definitely.
Had it in the films, because like in the films, Anakin's just like, you know, just a bit of an ass sometimes.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right. I made another friend just watch that last arc because he just refused to watch the Clone Wars. And I said that's fine, but just watch these last 4 episodes. You will love it. And now he's watched the whole thing because he loved it.
Fantastic. I mean, it's like the scene where Ahsoka and Maul are in that room, and like I think the glass shatters and it goes slow mo. It's like
it's so good. And when Order 66 happens and Rex is shaking his helmet. Just all of that is so good.
It's just like it's just because of obviously the way they did it. It just had, like I say, it just had more meaning. So you just like, oh, yeah.
I've literally found 2 clones, F1 and Star Wars, absolute fanboys.
No.
No. That's true.
Right.
Well, you both support. It's like 2 sides of the same coin. You know, he supports a blue team, you support a blue team. He loves F1, you love F1. He loves Star Wars, you love Star Wars. It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Disney Plus reminded me as well. Has either of you finished Loki yet?
Yep.
Yes, definitely.
It was. I think. I don't know personally about everyone else, but I thought that was the best Disney Plus Marvel series yet. I don't know about you two.
Ooh. I've enjoyed all 3, to be honest. I think I found myself looking forward to Loki the most.
Yeah.
And
I love Tom Hiddleston in the role. He smashed it. And then I can't remember who acted Sylvie, but I thought she was good as well.
She was like a I forgot her name. I think it's an Italian name, but she's like a English actress, but she was really good.
Sorry,
Karen. No, you can.
I was going to say the obvious big tease at the end for future Marvel movies was Kang, which I kind of like. I literally watched it as it came out because I can't deal with spoilers, and I was just there like. I mean, we all knew this was going to happen. But at the same time, he smashed the role as He Who Remains.
He was really good.
And this is what I know. I know Marvel. I know Marvel and DC very well.
Now it's quite clear. Like the shows are all setting up the multiverse. Like, and it's obviously you can, you know, in the rumors for like the Spider-Man films and Doctor Strange called Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and all that sort of stuff. Like
clearly teasing.
Clearly, that's what they're setting up, which is, you know, fair enough. Like it's got potential. Someone's home.
Someone's home. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, that was a very good tangent. Ben, have you got? I don't know how to get back onto F1 without making it blatantly obvious. Because it's such a tangent to a completely different topic.
Completely,
Because at least it's like sometimes I can go speaking of so and so, this. Whereas with that, it's not. It's like speaking of the broken timeline.
Should have gone.
Who like Verstappen's broken car? Like that doesn't really work, does it?
Speaking of pod racing,
who's the dirtiest driver?
What is it? My turn.
It is your turn, Benjamin.
I don't even know which one I'm on.
Then literally your first question to ask.
The second one. All right. I mean, I think if you said about this, that is this your first channel, or have you had others in the past? But I think you said that you did it on the same channel. But
definitely not the same channel. Definitely not. We keep that hidden. Technically, I had 2 channels. One was just when I was very young, probably shouldn't have been uploading on YouTube. Just again. What I would actually do on that very first one is I would like play something on my Xbox, it would have been at the time, and just record it on my phone, record the screen, like back in the days when that was kind of acceptable on YouTube.
My iPad.
Yeah, exactly. Well, iPads weren't a thing back then. Wasn't that privileged?
Oh, sorry.
I'm only kidding. And then the next one was the dreaded Minecraft one. and we forget about that. We thankfully forget about that. There was even a Fortnite video on there, so we definitely forget about that. I know.
Ooh.
Yeah, and now F1, and we stick to that.
Right.
Fair enough. Well, Ben's own. This is Ben's first channel, and
I mean, it's
definitely my first channel, isn't it, Ben?
yeah.
Definitely my first channel.
He's not like got multiple channels in the dark net.
We've all been there. Don't worry.
I mean, he says it's my first channel, but this is like Tom's brainchild, really, isn't it? But I do help a lot. I like to think.
I mean, you are the first host that wasn't me, so and you didn't leave like Kieran, so I mean, there's that.
Yeah. And but I mean, I didn't leave like Kieran, but Kieran still got an announcement for becoming a manager. I see these things.
Are you that desperate to get a janitor announcement?
I'm not. No.
Because we're too important, Ben. We're already.
I'm just teasing.
Ben, we're already like at the top anyway, so we don't need to announce that we're there.
Yeah,
come on.
I mean, you say we're at the top, but we're not that close in terms of channel.
Well, no, I mean in terms of
importance, you're right at the top. Yeah. You are the glue, you two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like founder's a bit higher than janitor.
Exactly. Yeah. So because
important.
You're a founding host, Ben.
There we go.
There we go. I'll change your name from janitor.
Respect on my name,
on the document. I'll put janitor brackets founding host. Is that better?
Founding janitor.
I like that.
Founding janitor.
I like that.
Fair enough. Well, Dan, what's your favourite type of video to put out and make on your channel? Would you say?
Ooh, I love a good silly season video. So what that means is like just anything talking about like driver transfers or team anything like that.
Same term in football.
Oh, is it? Oh, awesome. Anything like that where I can just go crazy and just speak my mind and it all sounds utter rubbish. Talking about Lewis Hamilton going to Haas, things like that. Just anything where I can just go off on a tangent is what I love. Race reviews are cool, but just something that's just completely bonkers and wacky, like transfers and rumors. I just love sinking my teeth into that kind of stuff.
Cool. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. That's sort of like I guess with race reviews, it's sort of like any race that in general there'll be similar things to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And then if it's not as good a race, it can be really difficult. I don't give it. There's not any video I'd say I don't like making. But yeah, race reviews. If I'm picking on France today, but normally like your French Grand Prix race review, trying to squeeze a 10 or 15 minute video out of that, it can be difficult.
Really. I mean, along the same lines, what is your favorite thing about doing YouTube?
Oh, I suppose just talking F1 really. Being able to do stuff like this. I mean, talking about Star Wars a second ago, that was cool. I've not had the privilege of doing that yet, but just talking about F1 with other people that enjoy F1 or have an interest is lovely. Because beforehand, I've got a group of mates now that like F1, but when I very first started, none of my friends were interested at all. So to be able to do like collabs with different people, I've done a few like live streams with the F1 Words, with Chamber, all of that kind of thing is a lot of fun. So yeah, it's a boring answer. I'm sorry. I'd love to tell you it's like crafting unique ideas. That's not me. Like I love making a good thumbnail. I was telling Tom about that a little bit earlier on, but yeah, just talking F1 is just awesome.
Well, no, I'd say kind of literally the most common answer is well, kind of as you said, talking F1 is meeting new people, kind of having people in the comments talking and interacting with you is kind of literally the most common answer to that
yeah,
question.
Right.
And I mean that's basically
I followed the trend. Sorry.
me and Ben is exactly that. Like
We'll have
meeting
to-
new people.
We'll have to cut that from the end of the video.
Fair enough. Well, you've done YouTube for 3.5 years now. Is there, looking back, anything you'd change or do differently?
I think I would just start from the beginning calling myself Racing Reviews, because I used to be called F1 Reviews and then F1/E Reviews, now Racing Reviews, because I got into a little bit of trouble for having F1 in the name. So I would get rid of that phase. But no, I don't really think there's nothing that's standing out to me, because even some of the ones that aren't as good, you learn very quickly they're not as good or they're not good enough, and you learn that you need to get better. So you need to get rid of that section. That stinks. We don't want to ever see that again. Or, talk about, I don't know, the track itself a little bit more in a preview, in a race review, talk about the driver's standings a bit more. So you learn what works and doesn't. So I don't think there's anything I'm really think I would change. Just the name bit that caused a little bit of hassle that I just didn't want. So yeah, that's the only thing that's really sticking out to me.
Fair enough.
And then finally, what are your future goals for your channel, if you have any?
To get a motorbike, that's the answer.
Yeah. I mean, once you just continue what you're doing now.
Yeah. I don't really know. There's nothing concrete. I was saying to Tom earlier on, I'm kind of at a crossroads now where I've just finished uni. I'm applying to be a primary school teacher at the moment, so that's taken up a lot of my time, and that's something I've always wanted to do. So it might mean that I've got to slow down a little bit. I hope not, because I love doing the channel. I love talking about F1. But my one goal I've always had since I was a kid was to hit 64,000 subscribers, and I'm close. And the reason that is because it's the population of my hometown, which I know is so ridiculous. But I always just thought, imagine having that many people subscribed that live in my town. That would be nuts. So the fact that I'm anywhere close to that is really, really lovely. And I never thought I'd get this far. So yeah, in terms of goals or anything, I don't really have any, to be honest. Which, again, boring answer. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
This is literally your interview, mate. So literally say what you want.
Feel free to say if it sucks. Say, Dan, you just got to be more interested, man.
If we hadn't broken the hour mark, we'd have known that you were very interested.
Yeah, we'll save that for John. We'll save that for Motor Meerkat. He can have the boring one.
Well, I mean, that's all of our YouTube questions. Is there anything else you want to touch on, Ben, or are you all good?
I was just it's just one of the other questions that I had. Do you think that Haas are still going to be in the sport much longer?
I mean, if you'd have asked me last year, I would have given you the most biased answer, saying that Grosjean's going to be world champ in a couple of years with Haas. Now they've booted him out for old Mazepin. My thoughts are a little bit different, I guess. I wouldn't surprise. I think they will be here in some shape or form, whether that's Haas or whether that's Russian F1 team, Uralkali F1 team, something like that. I'm not too sure, because Mazepin's not going anywhere. Love him. No one loves him. Hate him or put up with him. He's going to be there. And Schumi, he's part of the Ferrari Academy, so he's fine. I don't get the vibe that Gene Haas is particularly interested. I think after those pretty awful years with Rich Energy, that whole fiasco, and then last year getting 3 points, this year probably getting no points. I hope the new regulations interests him, because he is a racer at heart. He loved his NASCAR. He wanted to come to F1 to win, and they weren't too far off a podium in 2018. In 2016, it was, they got a 5th place as well. So there's potential there. And they are the first team to jump to next year's regulations. So just to fill you in, Tom, Haas have just decided they're not going to upgrade this year's car, and they're going to focus everything on next year to try and jump forward. So this year they're horrendous. They're always last, always at the back, and then trying to hope that next year they can at least be in the midfield fight. So I'm hoping Gene Haas finds that interesting. But I think, like I say, Mazepin's here to stay. So it really wouldn't surprise me if the Mazepin family bought out the team and it ended up being a similar situation to Stroll. And I do like Stroll these days. I don't see that happening with Mazepin. But yeah, it would be a shame because obviously I've been a fan for the team for for 4 or 5 years up until now with Grosjean. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it was the end of the road.
Yeah, I mean, with his comments in the Drive to Survive documentary, where it's like, yeah, on the Photogrid site, yeah, I don't want to invest any more money. It's like, right,
yeah,
so that's promising. Like that's obviously like, showing commitment to the sport. Like,
and half of the superstars of Drive to Survive, like Gunther Steiner, he just makes it. So he better be on the grid.
Yeah, but I mean, like that with Gunther Steiner having to work his arse off to get an investment. It's like, I mean, it was scary in that where it showed how much the sponsors had an influence on it. So obviously, like Mazepin, they got Mazepin in because his dad said he'd invest, but then when he went to he's having to go to the German sponsors, being like, "Oh, can we, have German sponsors?" It's like, yeah, but only if you get a German driver. It's like, they're influencing their driver choices. It's like, oh, it's a bit scary, really, that they have that much influence. I mean, I guess when you need the money that much, you just be like, all right, whatever, yeah, we'll do that. But,
yeah, exactly. And it was, I hated watching that because I knew it meant that that's the reason Grosjean and Magnussen were no longer here. I know Grosjean obviously had his big crash and didn't really want to do it anymore. Especially Magnussen, I still feel he had more to give. So the fact he's just lost his career because they needed a sponsor is sad. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's scary just in the grander scheme of things that the sponsors have that much influence, but it's out of our control.
Yeah, right. We kind of touched on that earlier. How cash is king, and in F1, it's definitely a thing.
Yeah. So we have no influence over that. So
yeah, right. Except buying merch, I've definitely stopped buying merch. I can say that much.
But don't stop buying the Blue Podcast merch.
Exactly. That's what my new merch is going to be. That's the replacement.
There we go.
Exactly. Do what Dan says.
It's what Tom likes to hear. He's like, we're going to get a sale.
We're going to get £1 in profit. We literally make £1 in profit. I'm not even kidding.
Good boys.
I'm not even kidding. But, it's all about getting the brand out there and stuff. So it's all good. It's all good. And the new stuff's very sleek. Me and Ben spent a little while on it. And we got lots of different people's opinions on the text and all that kind of stuff. So it is good. And
the janitor's doing his money. He's getting his money worth.
He's getting his money's worth.
I'm putting in that hard graft.
He's also slowly disappearing. It's getting darker and darker.
You're allowed to turn a light on if you want.
He's still not going to go
snooping. I mean, there's not really much point now, is there? I'm closer and closer. Speaking of the light of the laptop, aren't I?
We're just going to see someone else suddenly just show up behind your shoulder.
Yeah, those are like someone's going to rewatch and there's just going to be a face next to Ben's. Ben, and we haven't seen it. And she'll be like, oh, one of those cursed images.
This is the last time Ben was seen.
Hopefully not. I've got some podcast plan with you, mate.
Have you seen this man?
I've noticed, Ben, you keep on looking behind you now. It's terrifying.
Yeah, no, there's something going on. No, there's stuff happening outside. So
there's pesky motorbikes again.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you enjoyed.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, boys. It's been lovely speaking to you.
Do you want to shout out anything you're doing, or you got your channel, etc.?
I'm fine. Just go watch the Bad Batch, people. That's what I'm going to go tell you to do. Tom, you've got to go watch Drive to Survive. Everyone else get on the Bad Batch hype, and of course buy the Blue Podcast merch, people. You got to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well,
Disney don't really need a shout out, but like The Bad Batch does. Disney aren't exactly cash strapped, I don't think. But, that $7.99 a month is not going to make much difference to them. But,
Fair enough. Well, do check out Racing Reviews. I will have Dan's link in the description because this has been one of the most enjoyable podcasts I think me and Ben have done in a long time. I mean, the fact we would start off speaking about F1, did a bit of football for a little period of time, Star Wars, YouTube. I mean, I think we've treated everyone that watched this podcast. We've done everything.
And we didn't even get to talk about Tammy Abraham. Unbelievable.
We can if you want to.
Right, we'll save that for next time. Don't worry.
Definitely save that for next time. Definitely have you on again in the future.
A bit of Marvel as well. So
exactly, yeah, exactly. And saying that Tammy Abraham is better than Haaland. So that's what Dan said, not me.
Pretty much. I mean, it's not, but we'll roll with that. I do love Tammy.
Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you're new around here, please do hit that subscribe button. It massively helps us. And so does a like if you enjoyed the video. And even if you didn't, just hit a like. It's very easy. Turn on the bell if you're new around here. Turn on the bell so you don't miss a video like this, which was fantastic. I do have to say it again. It was a really good podcast. Dan's link's in the description. And this will be out on Thursday. So we should have a golden show tomorrow. And as Dan said, buy the merch. Thank you very much.